Fromutori na Fufortori ook toe.
Miserna sapotene mau stop na livo mi bagat 25 Mei 2020. Begdama sta ligo doro, dat de Bali dan de ofaron tap de
Bakanabuskopu wil het denkvermogen van alle Surinamers opkrikken naar het hoogst haalbare niveau. Wij oppo ai.
Hapert er iets aan onze geestelijke ontwikkeling? Wat is het probleem met ons?
Ik heb voor alles is er een begin, maar voor alles is er ook een einde.
We brengen nieuws, analyse, scherpe interviews met ter zake deskundigen of betrokkenen.
En we roepen Suriname op om zich ready te maken voor de ontwikkeling en zich in te zetten en de schouders eronder te zetten.
We proberen steeds hoor en wederhoor toe te passen. Maar als mensen bang zijn voor kritische vragen, dan anomi fout.
Een fijne middag.
Uw presentator of talkshow-host van Bakanabuskopu is Faiklal Mohammed.
Manos Pau, u tek one sweet day, ala desto voor People FM let me review.
Ook een compliment aan u als radiostation, als belangrijke factor om dat niveau te tillen.
Volk van Suriname, die snap Bakanabuskopu. Ja? Met eigunu. Ja? Want arki. Ja? Arki boemseep zijn na kondre. Ja? People do your best. Ja? En God doet de rest. Ja? Doe je best. Oh, mijn afstuka moro. If mi arki Bakanabuskopu. Dat tori city. En laat het gezegd zijn. Jere, zowel de kapitalisten. Nanga daar ook man. A people FM daar archie. Me too. Mevrouw de voorzitter, ik ben ook een overloper van Sky naar People FM.
Goed, en het is nu 3:06. U hebt lang gewacht. Onze excuses voor het geduld. Our apologies for the delay. But waarom heb ik vandaag mijn taal in het Engels overgeschakeld? Omdat ik een Engelstalige gast heb. En misschien dat we straks ook even gaan testen hoe goed Sranang Tongo hij al spreekt. Want hij is al een tijdje in Suriname. Maar ik ga u vragen om te luisteren naar mijn gast in de studio. En ik ga vragen dat hij zichzelf even voorstelt. Your Excellency, may I invite you to present yourself in the microphone? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you for having me here today. And I wanted to say a good afternoon to all your listeners in Suriname. And I think we're also in Holland, you told me.
Yes, and they're all around the world.
So a good afternoon, a good morning, if that's where you are. Good day to everyone.
Yes, thank you. I have in front of me a man with a very impressive name, His Excellency Virjanand Sherlock DEPOO, Ambassador of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. This Sherlock, is it of Sherlock Holmes, the detective?
I suspect that's where my mother got it from. It's a nickname that is very common in Guyana.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, welcome in the studio, Mr. Ambassador. I'm very glad that you took your time in your busy schedule to be with us here. And as you know, there are a lot of questions regarding Guyana and the Guyanese in Suriname and the developments in Guyana. It was based upon my request that you are here in the studio. And the main reason for my invitation is that in the past 3 to 5 years, there have been many exciting developments in your country. And as your country is a neighbor of the Republic of Suriname, I thought maybe it is a good idea to talk to you and to share some ideas and some developments and how Suriname could learn from what is happening in Guyana. And I'm very glad that you responded positively upon my request. And I hope that our audience, both in Suriname, Guyana, and worldwide, can learn from all the information that we're going to share in this interview. I'm just going to address the Surinamese people also. So mensen, we gaan het grootste deel van het interview in het Engels doen. Omdat de ambassadeur natuurlijk zijn moedertaal is Engels. Maar ik geloof dat ons volk ook heel goed Engels verstaat. Dus Saranantongo heeft ook veel Engels in zich. En als u straks de vragenronde hebt en u zou een beetje ongemakkelijk zijn om de vraag in het Engels te stellen, stelt u het gewoon in Saranantongo of Nederlands en dan zal ik proberen om de vraag te vertalen naar de ambassadeur. I just told the audience that we are going to talk English, but if they are more comfortable when they want to ask a question, they could do it in Dutch or in Saranantongo and I will translate it to you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much. Goed. We gaan in dit interview een aantal interessante ontwikkelingen in Guyana bespreken en wat wij in Suriname, zowel als land als volk, ervan kunnen leren. Mr. Ambassador, it is not such a long time that you've been living in Suriname. How long is this exactly?
Well, my wife and I have been here for a little over a year. It'll be about a year and 3 months that we have been in Suriname.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what is your impression of our country and what are the main similarities and the differences between our two countries?
Well, my wife and I love Suriname. We love the culture. We love the landscape of Suriname. The architecture is beautiful. The people are wonderful. Since we've been here, we've only had a lot of outpouring of love from people that we've met throughout Suriname. So we're very happy to be here. In response to your second part of your question, Doctor, it's Guyana and Suriname are quite similar for us. So it didn't take very much for us to really get into the society because the culture is very similar. The Hindustani culture is very much present in Guyana as it is in Suriname. In addition, the Afro culture is there. So we've actually not have to do much to really experience the beautiful culture and food and people of Suriname.
Okay. In this position as ambassador, is this your first time in Suriname or have you visited our country before?
I'm sad to say, actually embarrassed to say, that the first time I came to Suriname is when I was posted here. A year and several months ago, but of course I regret that I didn't come earlier. It's such a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm. Can you share with us your career up till now? I understand that you have lived quite some time in the United States, but please share with us your experience up till now.
Sure. So I've been a businessman for a little over 25 years, and then I went into to academia, where I taught business education at a couple of colleges, and I designed courses for graduate students in business administration and business organization. I also taught global studies at the high school level, and something I loved very much. And after that, I was in semi-retirement when I got a call from President Dr. Ali, Muhammad Ali, Irfan Ali, and he asked me to come to Suriname to serve the country, and I was very excited about it. I'm very happy to be here to do that.
Did you see that coming?
I did not see it coming. It was actually quite a surprise to me. I was in the grocery store paying for my groceries, and I got a call.
In New York?
I was in New York at the time, and I actually hung up on the president, not knowing it was the president calling me to take up this position. And I got another call, and which one I took, and the president explained to me what he wanted, and of course I had to discuss with the boss in the family, my wife, and she was gracious enough. She agreed that this is something that we should be doing, and so here we are now. But you mentioned that I was in New York, but I never really left Guyana. My businesses were in Guyana. I spent half of my time between New York and Guyana.
Okay. And did you like it in the United States?
It has some advantages. At that time, I was lecturing at the different universities in business. So that was a good experience for me. Excuse me. But my preference has always been Guyana. That's home for me. That's my formative years were spent there, and so I always missed Guyana when I wasn't there, but I found enough time to get back home, and to do my business, and also I just enjoyed being there with my friends and my family in Guyana.
Yeah, you told us just now of this phone call by the president. Do you recall when that was approximately?
It was in July, several months before I came to Suriname. It takes a little bit of time from the time that the president asks you to the time that you get posted. There's some protocol things that needs to be taken care of. The government of Suriname has to first look me over and see if they want me here, and they were gracious enough to agree that for me to be posted in Suriname. And then after that, I had to spend a little bit of time catching up on developments in Suriname. The previous ambassador to Suriname from Guyana, Keith George, who was here for several years, almost 10 years, he was gracious enough to help me.
Yeah, and so that was in July 2023 that you got this call?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you start?
2022.
22.
That's right.
And you started in Suriname at what date?
In October 2022.
October 2022. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it took only 3 months before you were here.
Yes.
Okay.
It moved very quickly.
Yeah. And were you prepared to make such a big change in your life?
It's always difficult to move from one place to another. But my wife and I have been accustomed to movements in business. We moved around quite a bit throughout the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't so difficult for us physically or mentally. We were prepared for what is to come because we had experienced this on so many other occasions.
Okay. So I understand that from your position as a diplomat that you're not allowed to speak in the open on certain sensitive issues.
Yes, that is true.
But, as media, we are always very curious. And so if you don't feel comfortable on touching certain issues, please inform us and we will obviously understand this. But I was really interested, me personally, of what were the instructions that were given by President Irfan Ali to you on your mission in Suriname?
That's a really good question. And so the day before I left for Suriname from Georgetown, President Ali called me in to State House, and it was just him and I sitting on the balcony at State House. And
this is in Georgetown.
This is in Georgetown, and he was telling me about his expectations. And he looked at me and he said, Sherlock, when you go to Suriname, you will find some challenges. But I want you to look at areas where we can collaborate. Look for those things, and the other things will take care of themselves. President Ali is very, very focused on the development of the region, specifically Guyana and Suriname. President Ali believes that our development is tied together. And his message to me was, you go there, look for those areas where we can work together to develop both countries. Right? And that has been the guiding force. That's been the mission since I've been here.
Mm-hmm. And your predecessor obviously gave you some advice.
Yes.
How long he was?
He was here for 10 years.
10 years, so that he developed quite some experience. And can you give us a short, let's say, hint of what he told you, what to be careful about, or how to deal with certain issues in the Surinamese society?
Well, Ambassador Key George was here for 10 years, and he loved it. He loved it so much, he's come back several times since I have been here. And he only had good things to say about Suriname. He absolutely loves it here. His advice to me was, observe, try to understand things from the perspective of our Surinamese brothers and sisters. He gave me advice on making sure that, before I jump to conclusions, try to understand it, talk to people, be humble. And I've tried to do that, and it has worked considerably well for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I mentioned this to you before. There are obviously many similarities, but also some differences between Guyana and Suriname. What were the main things that struck you in the year, or a little longer than a year that you've been in Suriname? If you compare our country with yours.
That's a really good question. Something I don't think I've really thought about it that way before, but I think we have some of the same challenges. Right. And the approach to how we approach those challenges, or how we're dealing with those challenges, is a little different. We're somewhat fortunate at this point because it's been several years since we have benefited from our natural resources, specifically oil. So that allows us to move faster in terms of dealing with issues. I think Suriname, in a few years, will be there and will be able to move as fast as Guyana is moving on some issues. But generally speaking, the development of the two countries have always been the same. You look at right now, the International Monetary Fund is in Suriname. The International Monetary Fund has given you their formula on what you need to do. And we did that happened to us in Guyana. That happened to us in the late 80s into the 90s. So that's a very much a similarity between us. I recognize that you asked me for the differences, but I can only think about similarities between the two countries, and very, very few differences here. They're the obvious, of course. There's a more of the Dutch flavor, the culture of the society, whereas we have more of a British culture. The Hindustani community here, has maintained their language, right? And that is something that we lost in Guyana. Same for the Afro community, the Maroons speaking their language, or the African Guyanese don't have that language. And so there, when you look back at historically, you've maintained a lot more culturally than Guyana has. And, that's something to be respected. But when you really come down to it, we're very, very similar. There's more that's similar for us than differences.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but one of the main differences, I think, also is that in the oil and gas business, you're a little ahead of Suriname. The exploitation of offshore oil started 5 years ago, approximately.
Well, it started a long time ago. Since the 70s, we were looking for oil in Guyana.
But export started.
The extraction of it started about 5 years ago. But in terms of exploration, there's been since the 70s. And, we have a great company in Guyana, a local company, CGX, that also was involved in looking for oil for several years unsuccessfully. But 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago, 2015 actually, is when we were aware that there was significant commercial quantities in the Stabroek block, and Exxon, along with CNOOC, and forgive me, I forget the other company. There are three companies that came together to exploit the natural resources in the form of oil.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, there has been said a lot about this oil and gas in Guyana, and also the contracts that have been signed, and the negotiations that took place, and if they were good contracts or not. I also follow the Guyanese news via online newspapers.
Sure.
And the two main ones that I follow, I don't know if these are the most important, are Stabroek News and Kaieteur News. And
they're very popular. There's also the Guyana Chronicle.
Also Guyana Chronicle, okay.
That has a different view on things.
Okay, interesting. I will check it next time I surf the internet.
And actually, there are several newspapers. There's the Guyana Times, right? Demerara Waves. There are several of them. They can be found online. But they do have a different view on things.
Okay, but this is also a sign of a pluralistic society in Guyana.
Yes.
Okay. To touch upon this issue of the agreements, the concessions, the contracts that were signed, I understood that there has been some criticism in Guyanese society in the past years of this current administration, that in fact that Guyana should renegotiate these contracts, because they were in fact like a burden to Guyanese society, and the popular impression in our country is that we negotiated better, and that Guyana only gets chicken feet, if I may use that word, and that Staatsolie in our country negotiated with a tougher hand. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Is there really a sense that there has to be renegotiations, and what is the opinion of the current government on that?
Okay, so let me start off by saying that Guyana, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ashni Singh,
Minister of Finance,
just introduced a $1.146 trillion budget in Guyana, the largest budget in the history of Guyana. And that budget, is 43% bigger than last year's budget.
How many US dollars is that?
It's a little bit over $5 billion.
$5 billion US dollars.
And let me add that at this point in time, Guyana is considered the 10th richest country in the world. When you look at GDP and the population size. So, yes, in 2015, the previous government signed a contract with Exxon. A lot of people including the current government, did not agree with that. They felt that it gave Exxon a little bit too much. So, or rather, the government position remains that you cannot renege on your agreement. You signed an agreement, and the government of Guyana will honor that agreement. Because if you don't honor that agreement, then any other companies looking to invest in Guyana will not have faith in Guyana, right? A government must honor the agreements of previous governments to maintain the flow of investors into Guyana. So that is the position, and that's the only reason why the current government is not renegotiating. However, recently, the government of Guyana auctioned off several blocks, and that the agreement has changed where it is more favorable to Guyana. But let's come back to that $1.146 trillion budget. If we hadn't signed that agreement in 2015, would we have been able to have a $1.146 trillion budget? We wouldn't. You know, it's great to say you have oil, but it doesn't feed anybody if it's in the ground. You have to take it out. And the government of Guyana's position remains. You have, or at least this government, President Ali's position is you have 20 years to exploit this resource. After 20 years, based on the new technology out there, the new developments, it may not have the same value. Well, it's not going to have the same value, but the value may not be attractive to extract it anymore. You know, I recall my first day in business school when my professor asked the class, so what year do we run out of oil? And everybody went back home, and we started to do all these calculations, and we pulled out our calculus books and our statistic books, and we were doing all kinds of calculation. Of course, the obvious and simple answer is you will never run out of oil. It's just that we're going to find an alternative energy source. That is our position in Guyana. There will be an alternative energy source. We have 20 years to exploit it and to develop the country in that period of time.
Okay, very impressive. Mr. Ambassador, we were used in Suriname that in the past decades, there was an influx of a lot of Guyanese to Suriname.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, the main reason was an economic reason.
Yes. And a political reason. There was an economic and a political reason.
Okay. Can you elaborate?
So let's talk about it. The political reason was that there was a government in place that didn't respect democracy. There was not a free and fair election in Guyana for 28 years. This is not my opinion. This is a fact. You can go and check it. Any source you check, right, will tell you the same thing. There was not a free and fair election. That government at the time experimented with socialism, the nationalization of private corporations, which resulted in the economy basically collapsing in Guyana, and there was an outflow of Guyanese to the entire Caribbean, Suriname, Venezuela, the United States, Canada. In fact, we have more Guyanese living abroad than in Guyana right now. In Suriname itself, we don't know the number. Nobody knows that number, but we know it's over 40,000 Guyanese living here. And doctor, let me tell you, I meet a lot of folks here in Suriname who were immigrants or their parents were immigrants, or they have some kind of connection to Guyana, and it goes to almost every single office holder so that I've met in Suriname. There's just a lot of connection there.
Mm-hmm. And you told me a few minutes ago that there are an awful lot of Guyanese in the United States also. Can you
Yes.
give us an idea how many?
There is actually a number out there. The Census Bureau did it. They're predominantly in the New York area, Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, now in the Long Island area. I would estimate, because I don't remember the figure, I would say it's over about 600,000 people. Guyanese.
More than 600,000 Guyanese living in the
Yeah.
United States. So that's approximately the whole population of Suriname.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, there's a lot of Surinamese living in the United States also.
And how do they fare with each other?
Well, the interesting thing about that is you don't know the Surinamese from the Guyanese when they're in New York. They eat the same food, they shop in the same grocery stores, they go to the same temples, they they intermarry and things like that. My favorite example is one of my close friends. 30 years I've known him. And when I was getting ready to come to Suriname, a friend of mine said, "Hey, Rick is from Suriname." And I said, "No, he's from Berbice, Guyana." And the man said, "No, but he's a Surinamese. For 30 years I've known him. I always thought he was a Berbician from where I am from. I'm a country boy from the Berbice area." So they get along, the Guyanese and the Surinamese get along very well. And they live next to each other. And you don't know who's Guyanese, who's Surinamese.
Okay. So if there is such a large number of Guyanese living in the United States, I presume in the UK and in Canada as well.
Sure.
I think that there is a lot of interaction, a lot of traveling, just like the communities in Suriname and in the Netherlands. How have Guyanese governments been able to tap into that resource of knowledge, of expertise, but also finance? Because usually the general impression is that people who are living abroad are more affluent. And do they still have enough affinity with Guyana that they are willing to share their expertise and the capital towards investing in their home country?
Absolutely. So the government of Guyana, through at the Ministry of Finance, we have a diaspora unit and a remigrant unit. And the unit is tasked with reaching out to Guyanese who would like to return home and to help them to resettle back in Guyana. And this is open to anybody. And you just have to go to the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Foreign Affairs Guyana, and look for the remigrant unit. Right? Lovely lady, Miss Rosalinda Rasul, who runs that unit, and they will give you the information that you need to return to Guyana. So that unit is tasked with that. And the government of Guyana's position is, we want you to return home. The fifth most in-demand passport in the world right now is a Guyanese passport. Folks who may have left Guyana decades ago now see the value in having that Guyanese passport again. So they're applying for it. Their children are entitled to it also. So if a Guyanese settled in Suriname have children here, their children are entitled to a Guyana passport and all the benefits associated with that right now. So we have a lot of folks who want to go back home. One is, if a child goes back, a young person goes back to Guyana, they can go to school for free. All right, they can get a scholarship. The government of Guyana currently is giving out 50,000 scholarships
Per year.
per year. Forgive me, over 5 years. But the idea is any school you want to go to, right? It's online, of course, right? But you'll pay for that. In the University of Guyana, the government is looking at taking out the fees, so it'll be fully free education, tertiary education also. So there are a lot of incentives to return home. In terms of skilled labor, so you may not have the PhD, or you may not be an engineer or so, but you want to return home. Maybe you're a carpenter, or maybe you're a mechanic, right? Or you're in construction. Well, the government of Guyana has open arms to welcome you back home, right? And your skills are needed in Guyana. We have a shortage of skilled labor right now, and we have multiple projects that are delayed because of that. But you could go, if you return to Guyana, right, there are jobs available. Some of those jobs, the salaries are equivalent to being in North America at this time. If you return home, you're a Guyanese, what you will find is that you might be entitled to a free house lot.
So there are a lot of benefits in being a Guyanese citizen or having a Guyanese passport. Okay.
Absolutely.
And this opportunity to request a Guyanese passport if your parents were Guyanese, how far does it reach back? So how many generations is this? One generation. Oh,
right.
Okay.
If your parents were Guyanese and you can give proof of that through passport or birth certificates, you're entitled to it, but not your children.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and do you have an idea of how many people applied for a Guyanese passport based on that?
I don't have a number for you, doctor, but like I said, it's the 5th most in-demand passport in the world. We had almost a 6-month backlog until His Excellency President Dr. Irfan Ali intervened and and made a lot of changes in the immigration department that were back to we've caught up with it, but it's a significant number. I'm happy to share that number with you. I will check on it and certainly give that to you.
Okay, but is it true that in the past few years, a lot of Guyanese living in Suriname returned to Guyana? And do you have an idea of the number?
I don't have a number, but there are some returning Guyanese from Suriname. But what we find is that they establish roots here.
Mm-hmm.
They have children, they have friends, they have their homes here. So they may establish 2 homes, one in Suriname and one in Guyana, or they go back to the old family home that may have been vacant for decades, or that may have been rented to somebody. So they're going back home to those. It's not a large number, but we're happy to help those who would like to re-migrate to Guyana. We're happy at the embassy to help you with that process. You can always also go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The website has the contact information for the Remigrant Unit. Rosalinda Rasul is the director there, and all the information that you need for remigrating to Guyana can be found right there. But we would also be happy to help you.
Okay. Mr. Ambassador, if people are willing to go to a certain country or remigrating to a country, there are a lot of reasons for that. You have push factors, you have pull factors.
Yes.
Okay. Could you give us an idea of the reasons why Guyana is so attractive for Guyanese people living elsewhere?
The obvious answer, of course, is that oil and gas. So our GDP is 34%. We're the fastest growing country in the world. And when you compare that to the rest of the Caribbean, that's between 2 and 3%, right? It's significant. There is a lot happening in Guyana right now. But not everybody wants to be in the oil and gas sector. In the agriculture sector, that is growing at 11% right now, right? Or it grew from 11% from last year. So what does that mean? The president of Guyana, His Excellency President Irfan Ali, has the lead for agriculture in the region. And he has the objective of by 2025, next year, to reduce our agricultural imports by 25% from the northern countries, the more developed countries. Right? We spend $5 billion in the Caribbean just importing vegetables. And we can grow that right here. So that's an area that is very attractive for investment. And we are finding investors coming in from Israel, all parts of the world, looking to invest there because the market is there, right? We're investing in aquaculture, and we're looking for people who want to have a partnership with the government. That's why it's attractive. And we have not abandoned the other areas traditional areas of revenue. Sugar is still there. We're mechanizing it. We're becoming better at how we do it. The extractive industries such as gold and diamond and bauxite are still there, and they're still looking. We still have investors in those areas.
But to be concrete, Mr. Ambassador, in what sectors and what skills are urgently needed in Guyana?
The skills that we need right now. If you have worked in oil and gas, Guyana is looking for you. Right? There are enough companies looking for you. If you were in construction, if you can weld, Guyana is looking for you. If you can rebar, tie those steel bars together, Guyana is looking for you. If you can operate heavy machinery, trucks and bulldozers and excavators, Guyana is looking for you. We're also looking for trained nurses and doctors. We just about every single area that you can think of, there is a need. But specifically in the construction and the extractive industries, there is a need for that. An area of real shortage for us right now is, look, we're building 11 new hotels that'll be completed by the end of this year or next year. But you need people to work in them. And while we're training people, and the government of Guyana is going to build another school to train people, there's that demand right now. So if you've been working at resorts and in the hospitality industry, Guyana is looking for you. So, and we do have a web page that tells you what jobs are in demand. I didn't bring that information with me. However, if you go to the Guyana Embassy in Suriname's Facebook page, we have that information there. So you can actually sit wherever you are and check and see what jobs are available.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that's the exhaustive list. There's more jobs that's available than that's listed there right now.
Mr. Ambassador, if there is such a high demand for people with experience, especially in construction, oil and gas, and all other sectors, how do you cope with the shortage right now?
Well, there's a lot of people who are coming in from different parts of the world.
And what is the most...
The contractors who get the jobs, they're bringing in their people. For instance, the Chinese companies bring Chinese workers with them. All right? The Indian companies bring Indian workers.
I hear that there are a lot of Trinidadians coming to Guyana from the oil and gas sector.
Yes. In the early days of the industry, we didn't have many qualified people. But the government, or rather the people of Trinidad, they were trained in this area. So there was the demand, they filled it, right? And they continue to come. Guyana, when you go to Guyana right now, it's a place where you can hear the accent of the Caribbean from almost every part of the Caribbean, including Suriname.
Okay. Mr. Ambassador, we are going to open up the telephone lines, but before we start doing that, I will explain some things to the audience also. But I would like to touch upon one sensitive issue between our two countries.
Sure.
And that is the border issue at Post Tigre, or the New River Triangle, as you call it in Guyana. What is the current status on that, and what impact could this have on the construction of the bridge over the River Corantine?
Sure. All right. So the government of Guyana's position has not changed. Currently, there's a mechanism in place to address this issue. We have a border commission that deals with this. Just recently, a couple months ago, the border commission did one aspect of their job, which was each country was to present historical documents to back up their contention of ownership. Guyana has produced the historical evidence for our claim. Suriname has presented their evidence. So each party is reviewing that right now. The strategic dialogue and cooperation platform is the mechanism that was established in before 2020 to deal with issues like this.
But how
that is in place.
How often do they meet? Because I hardly hear any news about them.
The good news is that it should be the border commission meeting is going to come up shortly, and in the first quarter of this year, we expect that the strategic dialogue and cooperation platform meeting will be held. This year, definitely, there will be a meeting between the two heads of government. So it is being addressed. It is being dealt with in a very fair manner at this time.
Mm-hmm. How about the bridge?
So the bridge, that's coming, and it's not going to affect the bridge. Okay, there are some legal issues that need to be worked out, and that will be worked out between the two governments. I can tell you that in just a short time to come, there will be a very high-level meeting in Suriname between the ministers of finance, the ministers of foreign affairs, and the ministers of public works. That will be an issue that's raised there. But this whole issue of how, and I've heard this, that we don't know how this is going to affect the bridge. But we already have a ferry in place, and we have dealt with all the issues surrounding that. This is a bridge that, when it's built, it's going to transform both Guyana and Suriname, especially Nikeri, Saramacca, Koroni. All those places are going to be transformed. So whatever issue comes up, we can deal with it.
Yeah, but the critical issue in this is the ownership of the River Corantine.
But
and therefore...
That's an unsettled matter. That's an unsettled matter. But there's discussion on it, but I don't think the ownership is going to affect the bridge in the long term or the short term.
Okay, and do you have an idea when they will start the construction?
Well, His Excellency President Dr. Irfan Ali would have liked that to happen last year. And I know His Excellency President Santoki feels the same way. Every time I see him, he has said that to me. My best guess is that preliminary works will start around August, September time. It'll take a few months to put things in place.
This year?
This year, it's President Ali would like this bridge completed before 2025.
Yeah, but the construction will take approximately 1 year at least.
It'll take a little bit longer. I think President Ali is going to be not going to be a very happy camper with some people. But I just want to make the point that this is an urgent project for President Ali.
When were the elections scheduled in Guyana?
2025 in November. 2025.
But in our country it will be May 2025. So unfortunately it will be in time for President Irfan Ali, but not for our president.
Well, we're going to have to get those engineers and those contractors to work overtime on this.
Okay, another sensitive issue also is the issue regarding the Guyanese fisher licenses. Is this issue solved now, or
It isn't solved. I'll be very honest with you and your listeners. This is an area that has disappointed Guyana, as you know. An offer was made to issue 150 SK licenses to Guyanese fisher folk. That was never done, and we've been pursuing it, and we're not getting very far in this. I know President Santoki has engaged his attention recently. We're still waiting, but I want to make this point. 90% of the fishermen in Suriname are Guyanese. 90% of the fishermen in Suriname are Guyanese.
Should we give...
However, we don't own the fishing license. We have to a Guyanese fisherman has to rent a fishing license valued at 800 SRDs for about $2,500 is what they are renting it for. This is the information that has been put in the public.
Yeah, but it seems that the intermediaries are very strong and good connected people, or they have dealt with it in a very professional way, because there has been news a few years ago when the new Minister Seudin entered office that he would solve this issue of people acting as intermediary. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. So it seems to me that
the fishermen are Guyanese. They're 90% of them, because the local community does not want to engage in this.
But the license is on the name of a Surinamese.
Right. So how do you resolve it? I don't know. I just don't know how do you resolve that to take out the intermediaries. Right.
Guyanese fishermen becoming Surinamese, applying for citizenship.
But look, legally, you can issue a license to a Guyanese boat, and we've put up proposals to say the boats can be checked here, the catch can be checked, you'll know where they are. All we're trying to do is regularize something that's already happening.
Okay, and then the final question before we let people phone in, Venezuela.
Okay.
So a few weeks ago, prior to the year's end, there was a big noise, and people were thinking, oh my goodness, we're going to war. And Very good to hear that there is some diplomatic efforts going on, and there is some mechanism with the president of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and within CARICOM, etc., etc. It's a complex issue and has been going on for quite some years now. But can you give us, in short, an idea of what is here at stake?
So really, it's not so complex. This controversy originated with Venezuela. This was settled in 1899 to what the Venezuelans referred to a full, perfect, and final settlement. They were happy with it because they wanted the access to the Orinoco Basin and the Orinoco River, which they got in 1899. Many years later, in 1966, this issue resurfaced. Right? Forgive me, after World War II, but in 1966, we began discussions on it again. By 2018, it was referred to the International Court of Justice, and that's where it is right now. And our position, the government of Guyana's position, is we will respect the outcome of that decision. Whatever the jurists decide on, we will accept it, and we hope Venezuela will do the same. In terms of, that's I'm going to leave it there on that issue.
Okay. So we're just going to open up the phone-in session. But first, before we do that, I would like to explain to my audience the rules of engagement. I will do that in Dutch. Dames en heren, we gaan zo direct de telefoonlijnen openzetten. En ik heb als live gast in de studio ambassadeur Virjanand Sherlock DEPOO. En hij is ambassadeur van de Republiek Guyana in Suriname. We zijn erg blij en dankbaar dat hij hier in ons midden is. En het doel van zijn bezoek op ons initiatief is om met ons te delen wat Suriname en Guyana van elkaar kunnen leren. En zoals u ook gehoord hebt uit zijn uiteenzetting, gaat het economisch heel goed in Guyana. Met gigantische economische groei, bruto nationaal product enzovoorts. Een enorme behoefte aan skilled labor. En wij zouden graag willen weten, wat zijn de dingen die we van Guyana kunnen leren? Wat zij van ons kunnen leren? En hoe wij de banden van broederschap kunnen versterken. Dus een positieve issue. Vanwege de positie van de ambassadeur als diplomaat kan hij natuurlijk niet in detail ingaan op een aantal gevoelige zaken die op dit moment ook in de onderhandelingen plaatsvinden tussen Suriname en Guyana, waaronder de grenskwestie, de border issue. En ik vraag u om, als de ambassadeur dus aangeeft dat hij verder niet dieper op bepaalde zaken kan ingaan, dat we dat ook respecteren. Verder is hij gast in ons land en ik vraag dus ook dat hij met de nodige respect behandeld wordt. En dat wij dus ook in de manier van vragen stellen rekening houden dat het een hoge gast is en dat hij zijn land vertegenwoordigt. Zelfs al zijn we het niet helemaal eens met hem, dan moeten we hem wel met de nodige egaars behandelen. Ik ga zo direct de telefoonlijnen openzetten. U noemt uw naam en de regio van waaruit u belt. En als het kan, stelt u de vraag in het Engels. Als u het liever hebt dat u in het Nederlands of het Sanantongo stelt en dat ik het vertaal, geeft u dat ook even aan. Hou het kort en bondig, zodat veel mensen kunnen bellen en de vragen kunnen stellen. Oké, ik hoop dat we goede afspraken hebben gemaakt hierover.
Should I put this on?
Yes, if you could put the headphone on, please. Bakken naar Boskopo, People FM, goedemiddag, met u spreken wij.
Ja, goedemiddag, voor ik 3 nu weer.
Mr.
Hetgeen dat je daarnet gezegd hebt, zou ik dan bijna niet in willen gaan op bepaalde vragen, want ik had een paar vragen geprogrammeerd. Maar aangezien dat je alvast gezegd hebt dat bepaalde vragen niet gesteld mogen worden, dan wil ik het daarbij laten. Maar hetgeen dat ik toch wil doen, alvast wil ik jou een fijn werkweek toewensen. En die ambassadeur die daarbij is, ook een fijn werkweek voor hem.
Ja.
En dan groet ik mijn broers en mijn zusters, Ryan, Annie, Patrick, Pompidou en ga zo maar door. Maar eigenlijk, wat ik wil zeggen is dat ik hem toch, ja, maar je hebt een bepaalde vraag al gesteld en ik kan volgen.
Nee, maar je kan die vraag ook stellen, maar hij gaat dan wel netjes aangeven wanneer hij niet dieper erop kan ingaan. Dus het is niet zo dat vragen verboden zijn.
Ik heb je begrepen en ik heb hem ook begrepen. Het is logisch dat je mijn oma zou zeggen, je vuile was in Udubaki. Dus ik zeg dit, hetgeen dat je gevraagd hebt, is juist degene dat ik aan de ambassadeur zou vragen. En het is wat hij gezegd heeft, ik respecteer dat ook. Want ja, zeg bijvoorbeeld hoe ik hier mijn huis heb, kan ik bepaalde dingen niet zeggen in de uitzending of zo. Dus ik begreep hem volkomen. Snap je toch? Dus ja, maar ja, dan zal ik een andere keer weer reageren. Maar ja, hetgeen dat ik wou zeggen, je hebt het mooi verwoord. Dat bepaalde dingen niet, hij gaat geen antwoord op bepaalde dingen geven. Want hetgeen dat ik wil vragen, bijvoorbeeld kwestie van Tigri, kwestie van die betreffende brug, kwestie van Venezuela. Al die dingen heb ik kunnen volgen. Maar het mooie ervan is dat ik hem toch respecteer dat hij bepaalde uiteenzettingen gedaan heeft. Ik wenste wel, wat ik nog wil zeggen, ik wenste wel dat de Surinaamse overheid een voorbeeld hier kan nemen. Dat ze ook anders gaan denken. Bigisma botaki, draai anu paraboto. Dat volgens mij zou het beter gaan. Maar hetgeen dat er nu gebeurt, graag gezegd, Mika weet niet ba. Dus de leugens aan de bedrog naar de standaard. Dat ligt dat ook hierin. Mi barafa ik naar Arkigodoro krakti mi man.
Abon, Grantani, Masara 3 voor nu weer.
Ja.
Bakana Boskobu, People FM, goedemiddag. Met u spreken.
Goedemiddag meneer Lal Mohamed en uw gast in de studio, ambassadeur, met Imergo Uitvlucht.
Heer Imergo Uitvlucht. Hebt u een korte vraag in het Engels ook voor de ambassadeur?
Meneer Minoma taka Engels zo boem, dus gewoon Nederlands.
Oké.
Guyana en Suriname zijn twee niet volgens de wetlanden. De regeringen van deze landen werken niet met de allerlei veiligheidswetten en regels dat volgens de wet zijn vastgesteld. De niet volgens de wet stichting gemeenteregeringen uit de niet volgens de wetlanden praten en werken zomaar volgens de wet. Deze stichting gemeenteregeringen organisaties zijn volgens de wet criminele organisaties. En dat is niet goed. U bent het of u bent het niet. Dank u wel meneer Lal Mohamed.
Dank u wel heer Imergo uit Uitvlucht. Dank u wel voor uw bijdrage. Goed, dan gaan we naar de telefoonlijnen via WhatsApp 8209920. En we gaan even luisteren. Wie hebben wij aan de lijn?
Hey. Yeah, hey, good day. This is Gerald from California. Good day, Mr. Ambassador.
Good day.
Okay, so I fully agree with the ambassador because I lived in New York for about 10 years, and especially I was alone there, and the Guyanese people took me in like I was one of their own. Greetings to Liberty Avenue, Smoky Park, all them people damn there, them Guyanese people damn there. And what I want to say is, the ambassador says he has, when you go to Guyana now, you can hear all different accents of the Caribbean. Is there a special rule or law that was taken in to allow these people to come in? I'm thinking about maybe a work visa, temporary visa, a temporary permit to work, is it anything of the sort that was put in place to attract workers? That's my question.
So, thank you very much for your question. Yeah, and I do remember Smoky Oval Park in Liberty, off Liberty Avenue by Atlantic Avenue. Wonderful place. Look, there is a need for skilled labor and unskilled labor in Guyana, and there are some laws that govern that. However, you can contact the numbers, or rather the website I gave you, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in Guyana. The Remigrant Unit, they have a lot of information pertaining to this. And basically what you would have to apply for, your CARICOM. If you're a CARICOM citizen, you don't need a visa to enter Guyana.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Right, and when you get into Guyana, you can apply for a job, and you'd probably have to also get a work permit. But as long as you have an employer, I don't think that should be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now my next thing is, as Guyana and Suriname, we're almost identical in possibilities as far as economics and things, culture. So, should Guyana and Suriname become allies or competitors? Because I think the Suriname people are let me speak for myself. I got a feeling there's maybe competition in the background brewing. And should we be competing with each other, or should we be an ally producing for the world? Because the world needs food. They are in this world hunger right now. And even if Suriname and Guyana, I think I'm answering my own question, Suriname and Guyana together cannot supply enough food for the world. But there is a need for food. So your take on that, should we be competitors or should we become ally and work together?
Really good question. President Santoki and President Ali started discussions on this in 2020. The idea is that each country will do what they're good at and exchange ideas. So in agriculture, what there are things that Surinamese are good at. There are crops that Surinamese are planting, which are in demand in the Caribbean, which Guyanese don't have the expertise in. And you can share that with Guyanese and vice versa for the Guyanese. In terms of cooperation, what we're looking at, and this is what President Ali and President Santoki has discussed also, is how do we get the most out of oil and gas? How do we work together with this? Okay. So there is discussions at the highest level, right? President Ali believes that we should have what's called an oil and gas corridor that includes Guyana, Suriname, and Brazil. You can't forget our big brothers on the other side, and possibly Trinidad. But at the highest level, the discussion is how do we cooperate in oil and gas, in agriculture. We're also looking at bauxite. How do we cooperate in that? You know, for a long time, one of the problems with bauxite has been that the raw product is exported. But we could create aluminum in the Caribbean right now, in Guyana or Suriname, because now we have the energy to do that, low-cost energy. In Guyana, we're building a gas-to-shore project that's going to generate a lot of excess electricity. We have the Amalia Falls project that's going to generate a lot of excess electricity. Suriname has a lot of gas, and that gas needs to be monetized. Instead of exporting it, do you add value to something like bauxite? So in other words, there is a lot of areas for us to cooperate in, and we believe that our development is tied together. However, I'm going to also say there's a good thing for competition, right? We should compete on certain things, right? Because competition is healthy. It helps you to become better at what you're doing. And we shouldn't say that there's not going to be competition. There will be healthy competition. Look, I'm currently in discussions with businesses in Suriname who wants to go and invest in Guyana, and then there are businesses in Guyana who wants to come and invest here, because there are certain things that Surinamese are good at. There are certain things that the Guyanese people are good at. So competition is good. It's healthy. But let me just say the final word on it is yes, we're looking at areas to cooperate.
Okay, great. And final, I'd like to send my greetings to President Ali I was watching, I'm also following Guyana when he came on national TV, and I thought it was so great and amazing that he was telling the Guyanese people, I have $100 million available to pump directly into the Guyanese people. I thought that was so great of the Guyanese president to tell the people, this is how much money I have left to put into the people. The man on the street, the teacher, everybody else, I'm going to push this into the people, and I want the organizations to come to me and tell me what you need. I thought Guyana can't lose like this. You are destined for greatness. And if you can't, just yank us along. No matter how stubborn we are, yank us along with you. Okay?
Good. Gerald. Gerald,
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your question, but I have one question for you, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Gerald, have you visited Guyana before?
No, and yes and no. Only on the airport, like a stop to change. To change.
You need to stop
But I
in.
looked at,
You need to stop in.
I think I will actually, because yeah, like I said, I lived with a guy and his family in Glen Street in Brooklyn for almost 10 years. They were nanny and all of them and sister. so that's how I got the accent. That's how I can talk like them guys. These people them. So that's where I got it from. It's not from them. They took care of me. I moved in there. I loved it. It was a great Christian lady, and who kept me, and she kept me strict rules. And I was 23 at the time. So Nani kept me straight. Yeah, why you coming so late down the night time? So and she really helped me because I did not have to buy food.
Mm-hmm.
I lived like a brother in the house. She cooked every day, so it was great. But when I came to Guyana, it was I think last year, and we landed, and I looked, and I felt like, oh gosh, I'm home. I got a feeling of home because I looked at the scenery. When we took off again, I looked at the scenery. I looked at the water, the river, and everything. I'm like, wow, I'm home already.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just another 30 minutes to be in Suriname.
Okay.
But yeah, I will.
Okay.
And also congratulations on breaking the record on a record-breaking number of tourists that came to Guyana. I know that too.
Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Gerald, final question. So you lived with a Guyanese family in New York for almost 10 years. Tell me, honestly,
Yes.
what did you learn from them, and what are the main characteristics of the Guyanese people in comparison with Surinamese people?
Well, I see a lot of identical. We almost live the same. It was like a typical family. The one hard worker, the one lazy, the one stubborn. Of course, the age. We were young guys. So, Nani reminded me of my mother.
Mm-hmm. And she was.
As far as go, yeah.
And she was very
so
strict.
we have the same, very strict.
Uh-huh.
I'm not telling you don't listen. Bye, you don't listen to bye. You better come home night before godly hour. That was nice. She kept me straight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and of course the Guyanese people they are millionaires and billionaires because they got the apartment buildings, 30 high with 5,000 people living in a building like that in New York, Queens, New York. And imagine everybody got to pay $700 a month in rent. And that money goes straight to Guyanese the owner of the building. He Guyanese.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you go to the building, you see Jamaican and island people and Surinamese people. And so yes, the Guyanese people have done beyond great in New York. They are really doing well in New York. And this for generations, going on generations. Yeah, because when I came, I was like, wow, these people have been here forever. Yes, they have been. They're doing great.
Okay, Gerald, what
And
can we learn? What can we learn from the Guyanese?
It's integrity. Integrity. The leaders got to have integrity. Because if you are the leader and you are not an integral person, who is above you? God. But God is working too slow for the humans. God, he owes time, so he's never in a hurry. But if you are selfish, if you just think about yourself, how can you watch your people just suffer and die and just vanish? You got to take care of your people. And I see that in the family where I stay with Nani, when Nani made sure that we was doing good, that she was doing good. But if Nani made sure I didn't have to spend money on food because she cooked just an extra plate for me every day. She made sure I had that. And that's the leadership. The leader of the house, the leader of the city, the leader of the nation, you got to be integral and you got to let the people fare well. The people got to live good. And then the people are going to support you. And if you have a problem that you can solve, the solution will always come from the people, especially the ghetto. Jesus came out of the ghetto. Let's not forget that. There's other solution, but you can find it. It's the people have it. Then you just got to deal with the people. Just come on TV, tell the people what the problem is, or tell the people how much money you have and how much you're going to give them and what you think we should do with it.
Okay, Gerald.
Get the people involved.
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you think that the Surinamese leaders can learn from the Guyanese leadership?
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. Integrity, love for the country, and when you get blessed, it's a blessing. Don't think as far as, I want to make one group within the society, the elite, like what our president is doing. He wants to have one elite group of a certain ethnicity and everybody else below. It failed in America. America tried it. It is the reason that America is at the brink of collapse, which is called racism.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You can't do that. It's failing.
Okay, Gerald, final question. What is your favorite Guyanese dish?
Nani used to cook up rice, fried fish, black cake.
Black cake?
Yeah, roti, black cake. Yeah, the fruit cake.
What is that? Black cake?
Yeah, I want a piece of black cake. Is like a cake had all kind of fruits in it.
Oh, okay. Ken dat niet.
It's fruit.
I don't.
Yeah, the black cake.
Okay. And do you think Guyanese kitchen is almost the same as Surinamese kitchen?
Yes.
But
we have different. Well, the Guyanese. How can I say that? Because Suriname has the Indonesian and the Chinese that are like added to.
Mm-hmm.
But the Guyanese kitchen is like already mixed up. So there is no food from one group or that group or that group. It's just everybody already has like the one type of food. It's like Suriname.
Mm-hmm.
They still got this. We kind of have the same. The daily meals in Guyana are just like in Suriname.
But as
chicken, rice, veggies, vegetable, fish, rice, vegetables.
But
we are almost identical.
As a true patriot, you would prefer Surinamese food above Guyanese, I think.
Okay, Mr. Ambassador, close your ears. The best food in the world, and I've traveled around the world. The best food in the world is still Suriname. So maybe we need that bridge so we can take some of the food from Suriname up to Ghana people them.
So Gerald, let me add to that the best duck curry I've had so far is in Suriname, and Suriname is currently the trophy holders for the best curry duck in the world. There was a competition in Suriname a few months ago, and teams from around the world came. I think there were 16 teams, and Suriname won it. And I think they deserved it. Wonderful food in Suriname. I love it here.
Okay, Gerald, hartelijk dank
Okay,
voor je bijdrage.
sir.
Thank you very much for your contribution to our program. And take care. And the next time we're going to deal something, an issue about Guyana, we will inform you on beforehand. So maybe you can help us preparing the item.
Okay, I'm there. I'm game.
Okay, thank you very much, Gerald.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We gaan direct naar de volgende beller. De telefoon staat roodgloeiend. There's a lot of people trying to phone in. Let's go directly to the next caller. Bakanabuskopu People FM, goedemiddag.
Goedemiddag, Pike, and good afternoon, Mr. the Ambassador.
Good afternoon.
Patrick from Indira Gandhi. No, Mr. the man from California,
Gerald.
he missed a very important food, and the Guyanese might be facts. Pepper pot. And that is pepper pot.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. I love my pepper pot.
No, Mr. the Ambassador, I have 3 questions for you. 1, why so much haste to build a bridge over the Quarantine River? What is the meaning? What is so important? 2, what role did former President Jagan play in this whole development of Guyana?
Okay.
En third? I think
for you, Mr. the Ambassador.
U had 2 vragen of 3 vragen?
Amen. Yes,
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, keep on listening.
So the haste, I don't think it's haste is the word, but why the importance of bridging the Quarantine River? The studies that have been done, and my personal feelings are that when you bridge that river, you transform both Guyana, Suriname. It will link up French Guyana, and you will have, Suriname and Guyana will have access to over 35 million consumers in Brazil. We in Guyana are building the road to Brazil. Now, the Brazilians will, besides being consumers of products, they're also manufacturers of products. And they will be able to bring those products to market in Guyana and Suriname and French Guyana. So when you have this artery open between the two nations, it will improve all of our economies. The people of both countries will benefit from this. And there are so many opportunities that that will be available. So for instance, I can see today where we have a situation like Canada and the United States. People live in Canada and go to work in the United States, go back home in the afternoon, right, with that bridge. So it presents a lot of development opportunities for all of us in the region. In terms of Dr. Jagan, he was a very astute man. He fought for democracy in Guyana, and Dr. Jagan put Guyana on a firm foundation. In 1992, when he took over government, after 28 years, he put things in place that would help with our a long-term development. The master strategy, in fact, for Guyana's development was created during Dr. Jagan's term in office. And Dr. Jagan's principles or values were, you develop the country, but you don't forget the ordinary people, and everybody must come up in society. And that is something that this current government, his party, the People's Progressive Party, those are the values that they live by. Those are the values that carry the party, that everybody in the society must benefit from what is happening.
Okay. Let's go to the next question. And there are also some questions on Facebook. But let me start with the live phone in. Bakanabuskopu People FM, goedemiddag. Met wie spreken we?
Goedemiddag, heer Faik, BW Saramaka-Polder.
Heer BW Saramaka-Polder. Hebt u een vraag voor de ambassadeur van Guyana?
Ja, 2 vragen. Ook een good afternoon, sir, the ambassador.
Good afternoon, sir.
Speaking with BWV from Saramaka-Polder.
Love Saramaka.
Thank you for your talk in this studio of People FM. I have 2 questions, sir. The first one, your working force, your labor force, total labor force, excluded the sector oil and gas. If you divide your labor force at 3 levels, high-level skilled people, mid-level skilled people, and low-level skilled people. With other words, professionals, these are the high-level skilled people, the technicians, the mid-level, and the low-level skilled people. The percentage, the respective percentage of your labor force at those 3 levels.
Sure, I understand what you're asking.
The wage. What are the wage of the respective categories? That are the 2 questions, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for answering.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon.
I'm not sure if I can give you an answer that will satisfy you, but in terms of the percentages of the professionals, the technical and the unskilled labor, there's a need for the middle category, the skilled labor. So when we talk about the skilled labor, those are the technical people such as the heavy machinery operators, the people with experience in the construction industry, the people who work on the oil rigs. That's what we need a lot of people in Guyana. Those are the skills that we need, or in that category. We need less of the top level, the engineers, the doctors, etc. We need them, but not in the same amounts that we need the mid-level people. And we also do need people in unskilled labor in various industries. Now, wages are going up in Guyana all the time, right? And I don't have numbers in front of me to tell you exactly what somebody is making. But at this point, it is comparable to what you would find in the rest of the region. And because of the demand, salaries are going up continuously. If somebody is interested, they would have to contact the various employers to see what they're offering. But I can assure you that it is comparable to what you would get in the region. Thank you.
And you said comparable to what you get in the region, but which countries in the region? Because there are a lot of differences in the region.
Mm-hmm. So I would say you have to take an average or so. It's certainly a little bit more than you would get than in Suriname at this point, right? Because Suriname's wages hasn't caught up to the increase in prices yet. In Guyana, on the other hand, wages are catching up to those.
On average, do you have an idea for instance, unskilled labor in Suriname, or let's say, for instance, for a carpenter in Suriname, nowadays you should pay between 750 and 1250 SRDs per day, which is approximately divided by 20 US per day, up till $40 per day. Do you have an idea what a skilled carpenter?
I can't speak to that right now. I'm happy to come back and give you that information, but I can't speak to that at this point. What I can, again, I'll go back to, it's comparable or better.
Okay. Yes, because only then you can explain the big, how do you say, drain of skilled people from the Caribbean towards going to Guyana.
Right. Well, they're there, and clearly they're satisfied with the salaries that they're getting.
Okay. Let's go, because we have to check the time also. Let's go to some comments on the Facebook page. Let me see here. Okay, 1 second. Dashboard. Okay, we're going to the comments just now. Yes, here we are. Greetings from the north of Amsterdam. Hortense Oelers is listening. Dan we hebben hier Esterita Jongevat is commenting. Black cake you can keep a long time, at least 1 year, because there's alcohol in it. Okay.
Correct.
And then Ivan Hunsel says, good afternoon, Mr. Lal, and all listeners in the audience. Thank you for this interview with the Guyanese ambassador, and hopefully we can learn something from Guyana, and we can also learn about more nation building and not the tensions between ethnic groups. But this is a nice angle also to touch upon, Mr. Ambassador. Sure. We have heard. I mean, and that was before my time, because I was born in 1965. So around that time, there were ethnic tensions in Guyana, and they have been going on in peaks and in the past years. But what can you tell us about these ethnic tensions, and how were you as a country, how were you able to solve them, to diffuse them, to de-escalate them?
Okay. So right now, President Ali's position is one Guyana. One Guyana means that everybody in Guyana is equal. Everybody in Guyana has a stake in what's happening, right? This doesn't mean that we don't recognize that there is value in diversity. What it means is that Guyana belongs to everybody. And the way you do that is you can't just say it, you have to prove it. And what Guyana, the resources of the country are shared equally throughout Guyana. So whether you go to Linden or you go to Port Morant, right? It's the same resources that are going out to everybody, and it's something that we continuously work on. There are elements who will try to use this race to an ethnicity to divide people, to score cheap political points. But the government of Guyana, President Ali, addresses these issues. You can see him in every single neighborhood that he goes to. And everywhere he goes, the same message is there for everybody. Guyana belongs to everybody, and you will share equally in the wealth of Guyana. And everybody has access to contracts or houses. Look, Guyana is going to give out 50,000 house lots in 5 years, right? People are not asked, and you do this online, by the way, right? People are not asked, are you Indian, Black, Chinese, Amerindian? No, it's done in a very systematic way, and everybody benefits equally from the resources of Guyana.
Okay. Hortense Oelers is posting a comment on Facebook that everybody wants to profit from Guyana because they have discovered oil over there. Do you think that there's she's right?
Well, yeah. Why shouldn't they? People should come and if they can help in the development and they can make a profit out of it, I don't see that there's anything wrong with that. You provide a service and get paid for it. That's a good thing, right? And it motivates you to do more. So Guyana is open for business. If you have a business that you would like to do in Guyana, you reach out to the Guyana Investment Corporation, and we have a place where it's called Go Invest for short. You go there, and they have officers that will help you to navigate Guyana. It's a one-stop shop, basically, to help you to invest in Guyana. And we want people to come and invest in Guyana. There's a lot of opportunities that are available there, and why not? Come and take it, those opportunities.
But does your embassy facilitate some
We do.
Surinamese entrepreneurs in this?
We do. On a weekly basis, I see about a dozen Surinamese looking at investment opportunities in Guyana, and it's also from Guyanese who are looking at what can they do in Suriname, and I think that's healthy. That's when people talk about the two countries developing and how do we come closer together. I honestly do believe that the way we come closer is when our economies are truly tied together, that we will all benefit. We're small countries with small populations, and we need to basically look at synergies, ways we can work together to have a bigger voice in not only in oil and gas. We are going to have that big voice in oil and gas, but in agriculture, in tourism, in aquaculture. These are the areas what we have to develop together.
Yes. Mr. Ambassador, there are a number of Surinamese companies already operating in Guyana and mainly in Georgetown. But I hardly see any Guyanese company working in Suriname. Is this am I correct?
Well, you have companies here. Every morning when I get to drive to the embassy, I see the Bihari Group delivering in Suriname. So they're one of the largest that's here. There are several fish processors that are here, and they're smaller companies that trade products. We do a lot of manufacturing in Guyana. Curry powder and chow mein and things like that, and soft drinks. So those are some of the things that come in here. And there for a long time, the Guyanese the Guyanese came in the 70s and the 80s, and it's kind of leveled off in the 90s, and they opened businesses here. So there's a lot of Guyanese businesses. They may not have come from Guyana recently. They were here. And if you go down, if I take that ride all the way down to Nikeri every month, and I stop at different places, and I hear the Guyanese. They've established businesses here. You got to come away, and I was there yesterday. There are Guyanese businesses established in Comowain. In Paramaribo, they exist.
Okay, Mr. Ambassador, we are going to have a small break with a Guyanese song. I will first play the track, and then afterwards I would like you to comment on it. I think the lyrics are understandable, but sometimes we cannot exactly understand the pronunciation. But
sure.
let us listen to the song, and maybe you can comment on it afterwards. It's from Terry Gajraj, and he is a Guyanese artist. And let me listen.
Guyana. Me say pack up me grip and let me go. Me got to go back to Guyana some more. Me say we pack up me grip and let me go. Me got to go back to Guyana some more. Oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu, oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu. I am the very best of the Guyanese Babu. I am the very best of the Guyanese Babu. Oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu, oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu. I am going back to Guyana to find me one dullahin for this dullaha. I am going back to Guyana to find me one dullahin for this dullaha. Me say pack up me grip and let me go. Me got to come back to Guyana some more. Me say fi pack up me grip and let me go. Me got to go back to Guyana some more. Oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu, oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu. I am the very best of the Guyanese Babu. I am the very best of the Guyanese Babu. Oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu, oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu. Jerry V. Gajraj, that is my name. Singing this song, them is how me get me fame. Jerry V. Gajraj, that is my name. Singing this song, them is how me get me fame. Me say pack up me grip and let me go. Me got to go back to Guyana some more. Me say fi pack up me grip and let me go. Me got to go back to Guyana some more. Oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu, oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu. I am the very best of the Guyanese Babu. I am the very best of the Guyanese Babu. Oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu, oh Bangali Babu, oh Guyana Babu.
Hier hoor je alles. Bakalamos People FM.
Mr. Ambassador, what did you think about this song?
That's a lovely song that's heard at every Guyanese party. And I'm waiting for Mr. Gadraj to revise that song. It was he sung about rice, sugar, and bauxite, but oil is the big thing in Guyana right now.
The song was dating from which year?
I don't recall the year, but clearly it's I think it's in the early 2000s or so.
Mm-hmm.
But Terry is talking about those were the things we would depend on, bauxite and rice and sugar. And for a large part of the population, that was where they found employment. And in bauxite also. That has changed, but also the song is sad in a way because so many Guyanese have left. And he's talking about packing up his bag to go back to visit Guyana. I hope Guyanese will now pack up their bags to go and not visit, but live in Guyana. We went through very, very difficult years in Guyana. The 70s, the 80s, part of the 90s, and we've turned the corner, and people should be looking to go back to investigate what is there. I'm not saying go home if it's not right for you. Investigate what's there, and Terry's song is a beautiful song that the Guyanese really enjoy.
Okay, and so what is his aim? What does he want to create? What with this song?
It's a little bit of he's talking pride. We ran from Guyana, many of us. You look at every part of the Caribbean, we were there. In Venezuela, we were there. In Suriname, we were here. In all around the world, you will find Guyanese because of the political and economic situation, and we were not looked upon kindly for a very long time. And now, Terry is talking about we should take pride in being Guyanese. And we are taking pride again in being Guyanese, being a proud people, being...
And how do you sense that it is happening?
Well, if you go out throughout the Caribbean or North America, what you find are that people want to identify as Guyanese now, right? They're flying the Guyana flag, right? They're proud to tell people, I'm Guyanese, right? Or they're proud to tell people, my parents are Guyanese. I met a family just a couple months ago in Suriname, and I was talking. The gentleman was an old friend of mine. We've known each other for many years, and his daughter was traveling with him. We were talking. She was born in Canada, and she was talking about how proud she is to be Guyanese. She wasn't born there. She doesn't live there. But the pride is there now. And I think that now with One Guyana, with all the developments that are happening in the country, that people are going to take a fresh look at Guyana. And they're going to find out that there's so much Guyana has to offer.
Okay. Due to the time, Mr. Ambassador, we will have to wrap up now because I mentioned a time slot for you, but it has become much larger than that. I have a lot of questions, and people have a lot of questions also. So, if you have a few minutes more, just tell me, and then
sure. I'm enjoying this conversation with you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you very much. One thing I would like to know also is that if you want to create pride in a society, in a community, then you have national symbols for that. Mm-hmm. For instance, a national airline company, the flag, a university, etc., etc. To my astonishment, I think Guyana doesn't have a national airline company, isn't it?
We don't, because we did at one point.
Uh-huh.
We had Guyana Airways.
Okay.
And that was a complete mess. It was draining the treasury. So it was dismantled. We kept for a while. A section of Guyana Airways was kept to do flights into the interior of Guyana. But, the private sector can do the job better. Why not? Government should not be involved in these things if the private sector can do it. The government must set the conditions for businesses to operate. But government should stay out of business as much as possible and let the private sector do what they do well.
Yeah, but it seems that the Surinamese governments are not of the same opinion as the Guyanese governments, because we have been financing Suriname Airways and for quite some time now, and even under this administration, there was a lot of criticism on putting a lot of money, investing a lot of money, injecting a lot of money from healthy state companies into Suriname Airways. But tell me, if Guyanese want to visit their country from abroad, or Guyanese people want to go abroad, they have to use foreign airline companies now. And does this not create a dependence on these foreign companies? And are they then not trying to squeeze the citizens in having to purchase expensive tickets if you cannot compete with them? Tell me, how did your government solve this?
So what you're talking about is the private sector, and basically, if the demand is there and there's not enough supply, the prices are going to go up. In Guyana, the way we've addressed this is the president has instructed the relevant bodies, the Minister of Public Works, and they go invest to seek out companies to come in, new airlines. So now we have several airlines operating out of Guyana or coming to Guyana.
Can you
Caribbean
Mm-hmm.
Caribbean Airlines is there. SLM is there. British Airways is there. We have Fly Always is there. Trans Guyana is operating between Suriname and Guyana, and several others. And we are going to have more. Right now, Guyana has the capability of over 1 million seats per year in terms of lifts, right? So, and prices are going to come down. Prices will come down. We were at the mercy at one time of a couple of airlines, but that is changing now. In terms of Suriname and SLM, if you don't have the airlines coming to you, then you have to have your own, because your people it have to move, and businesses need to get here. And I think this is the synergies of Guyana and Suriname working together. So SLM has landing rights in Guyana, and they are going to SLM goes to Guyana every morning and comes back every night. And then there's a connecting flight to Trinidad and into New York or Miami or where you have to go. And so in this case, SLM is needed for Suriname. Maybe there will come a day when you have a lot of lifts and you may not need it anymore. But I think Mr. Captain Stephen Ganesh is doing a fantastic job with SLM.
Okay. Let me see if there are some questions that have not been addressed. 1 second. Yes. Okay. Yes, there's a question about the health sector. One question here, the gentleman says, why are you building so many hospitals if you do not have the necessary doctors and nurses to work there? Is this not overkill?
It's a good question. So we're building 12 new hospitals. We're building level 5 hospitals. Those are considered the top of the line hospitals. And it has the best equipment in it. The idea is that, remember when we started this conversation, we said that oil and gas will not last beyond 20 years. So you have to prepare your economy for the future, which is what President Ali is doing right now. So we're looking at medical tourism. So we're preparing for that. And that's why we're building these hospitals. In terms of personnel, well, when we did this, we have the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, went out and looked at the things that are needed to make these hospitals functional: personnel, in terms of the doctors, the nurses, on all the technical people running the equipment, and the administrators and things like that. So we are in partnership with some American healthcare corporations, such as Newell, and we are also in partnership with Columbia University, where our local doctors get trained. They go to the United States and they work along with the American doctors there. And the American doctors come to Guyana and they provide training for us. So yes, we recognize that you need the personnel, and we're building that capacity that right now. We also have a medical school in Guyana, and we're in terms of the nurses, we're enlarging the school that we currently have so we can train more nurses, and and the healthcare professionals are being paid better, so they're gonna stay here in Guyana. One of the problems we have in the region, Suriname has the same problem, is trained personnel leave, right? But we're finding ways to keep them, or the president is finding ways to keep them in Guyana. So this is not going to be a white elephant. We're looking at what do we do down the road, and it's not only in healthcare. We're also looking at sports tourism, right? So we're building 5 new stadiums in Guyana, and the idea is you bring in people for sports activities. Right now in Guyana, every year we have a big carnival, a big party that lasts for a couple of weeks. Every time we have the CPL 20 in Guyana. That's a cricket game. 20 over matches from all over the Caribbean. Teams come to Guyana to play, and there's a lot of activities associated with it. And we have seen that it pays off, right? We're getting the tourists, and the money is going to the ordinary citizens, the taxi drivers and the restaurants and you name it. Everybody benefits from this. So we see that it's working. We just have to keep working on it and improving on it every year.
Yes. Mr. Ambassador, a few years ago there was a study done at the Chamber of Commerce here in Suriname, and they checked the business environment in our country and the productivity in our country. And I'm very much ashamed to tell, but the facts are there, that our productivity in Suriname was one of the lowest in the world. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what I would like to know is how did you in Guyana deal with the challenges and experiences in creating a highly qualified, skilled, and productive workforce?
That's a process, and it's ongoing in Guyana, right? And you got to be able to take some risks, right? Look, when the University of Guyana was built under Dr. Chetty Jagan, somebody called and asked about him earlier, they called it a night school. But he knew that you needed a human capital, trained people, right? Look, right now, 50,000 scholarships are given out to Guyanese. We just Exxon and with collaboration with the government of Guyana, we just invested $100 million into a facility in Berbice just to train people to work in the oil and gas sector. So what you do is you train people, you make sure you pay them properly, and you have to encourage them along. Nobody starts off the day saying, I want to be the worst I can be today. Everybody wants to be the best, and they just need to be encouraged to do that.
Mm-hmm. And how successful has your country been in doing so?
It's work in progress.
It's work in progress. Okay. And do you see some similarities with Suriname?
There are some similarities
in this regard.
In this regard, and that goes back to in the 90s for us. Because remember, in the 90s, we were coming out of our economic recovery program, which is the IMF conditionalities, before they could have provided loans to Guyana. And people felt left out of the economy, right? And so you rebuild the economy, and you increase wages, and you give people real responsibilities, and they will rise to the challenge.
Okay. Mr. Ambassador, one of a number of challenges and solutions that your current administration has been trying to solve are those in education, in healthcare, in public housing, and in infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money has been allocated towards that. Can you give us a number of important achievements in this regard? You mentioned the hospitals that are being built, but can you tell us something more about public housing, infrastructure, and other sectors that have been booming?
Okay. So President Ali believes that everybody is entitled to a home. And as such, the government has a program to allocate 50,000 house lots to folks in Guyana. So 30,000 has already been allocated, and there are about 68,000 applications that are in right now. Remember, the president has his doctorate degree in urban planning, and he was the former minister of housing. So that area, not only does the government of Guyana give out a house lot, but they will build the foundation for you. So they'll give you the cement, they'll give you the steel, so you can build your foundation. And the government of Guyana has worked with the banks to reduce the interest rate on a loan. So I think someplace under 3% right now for a loan. In addition to that, what the government has done is the house lots itself becomes collateral to get the loan. So you can present the house lot that the government just gave you, which has real value, to secure a loan. So this is an area that the government has been spending a lot of resources on, because President believes everybody deserves a home. In terms of education, this government spends more money than most other countries in terms of education. So I believe it's someplace around 10% or so that most countries, developed countries in the world, spend. We're spending way above that. I think we're about 12 or 13% of our GDP goes directly to paying, or rather, goes directly to the education sector. And we're seeing the results of that. So, firstly, physical infrastructure is being built. So new schools, not only in the Georgetown or along the coast rather, but in the hinterland area, our Amerindian communities, who was left out for a very long time, are now they're getting good schools, good dormitories, etc. For a long time, those the first people had to leave their homes and come and live in Georgetown to go to school. Now the schools are going to them, right? The Minister of Education, Priya Manichan, is committed to every single child who needs a seat in school, they get one, right? And so not only is she building the schools, she's training the teachers, right? And she's paying, and they're being paid better than ever before, right? A teacher in Guyana gets a senior teacher, that is, gets a duty-free car. Right? They get bonuses at the end of the year. The government just increased their salaries. I forget the exact amount. But you see, these are all the success stories in Guyana. It's in education, right? It's in housing, right? Old age pensioners, right? Or older people just got an increase in their pension. So the government is looking at every possibility and looking at how to help to improve the lives of people. The quality of life has to improve. The government has billions of dollars allocated to the safety net of Guyanese. So the poorest of the poor, there are billions of dollars waiting there to be spent to help them to get out of poverty.
But can you give a concrete example? Because we in our country had the experience that when you give handouts to the people, then they will be getting lazy. They will not be stimulated to work. They think that it is normal to get all kinds of allowances. And when the economic situation deteriorates and the government is not able to give them these handouts anymore, then you have a big problem, because in the meantime they haven't learned new skills. They haven't learned how to handle all kinds of challenges. And they demand, and that's the big problem, then they demand to be treated as before, while there are not enough finances for that. I'm sure that in this day and age in Guyana, when there is a lot of money, it is easy to do a lot of beautiful projects and to become very popular.
Right.
But how to do that when you're in an economic crisis?
Exactly, and that's a really good observation. The fact of the matter is this: if you give out free money, people become dependent on free money, and we're having this. We're currently in Guyana having this debate on how best to take people out of poverty. Do you hand them money, or do you help them to achieve a skill? Well, President Ali believes that you help people to get out of poverty by giving them the basic amenities, which is a place to live in, good electricity, making sure that they have proper roads to travel on, good education, good health care. These are the things, the basic things that everybody's entitled to. However, people have to take the next step on their own, right? So the opportunity, the government of Guyana is giving you the opportunity. You have to take that opportunity now. However, not everybody is able to. So, for instance, let's talk about the disabled, right? Well, they may not take some of the opportunities that are available because of their disability. And the government of Guyana is looking at how to ensure that they also benefit. And so right now, a lot of money is being invested in people with disabilities, right? Look at the University of Guyana, where government is invested in that. So give people the skills rather than just handing them a check. But that's safety. Like I said, billions of dollars there for targeted supports. So, for instance, if you have a natural disaster, right? Those farmers that were doing very well on their own, right, may need some assistance, and you have to be able to do that for them, right? Some people have difficulty getting out of poverty, and so you have to do that, help them along the way. I want to tell you how one of the success stories that one of the ministers and I were talking about recently, and he told me about this community. I won't call the name of the community, but he said this community had a high incidence of poverty and crime. The president went with the minister, and they decided, you know what has to happen is we need to have skills training programs for the young men. And so they put that in place. And they made sure that these skilled people will now get a job. Guess what happened? The incidences of crime went down dramatically. Dramatically went down over 50%. It went down. That's what how you develop a country, right? You can't just say, I'm going to do this for you. You have to really go and do it and show the people. And this is what President Ali does on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. He's in the communities.
Yeah, we see a lot of videos of him on YouTube that he's visiting a village here, a village there. He's playing with cards on the table.
Dominoes, yes,
Domino
yes.
and,
He goes. He's a down to earth kind of guy, right? He goes into the communities. He doesn't expect to be treated specially. He likes to sit down with the ordinary people and hear directly from them. What are their concerns, right? What are the things that needs to be done? And then he makes decisions right away. It doesn't take 6 months later to get something done. He goes, he sees a problem, he wants it fixed. And if you look in those pictures carefully, you will see that he takes his ministers with him also. Right? He's results oriented. Down to earth, results oriented, and when he leaves office, he wants to transform before he leaves office, right? And the thing about him is he has a lot of energy. He sleeps for about 3 to 4 hours. He's constantly working. He's young, he's energetic, and he's smart, and he wants to get
things done.
Right.
How old is he, and what is his professional background?
36 years old. He has a PhD in urban planning. He has some business acumen also. He used to run a business of his own. He comes from a very reputable family. His father was, I believe, a high school principal. So he has a lot of discipline also.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the second man in the country, the vice president, is also very influential person.
Yes.
And he used to be president of Guyana also. But what was always fascinating me is that I checked his bio on Google, and then I saw that he was educated also in Russia.
Yes.
And that he, as I understood from the information, that he had a Marxist-Leninist ideology. And if I watch the current developments in Guyana now, I hardly see any Marxism-Leninism in what is taking place. Did he change course? Is he now a new believer, or what is happening?
So, Dr. Jack Deo, the current vice president, who was president for 3 terms in Guyana, he did study in Moscow. He's
a lawyer, huh?
Economist.
Oh, economist. Sorry. Okay.
He's an economist, and he went there on a scholarship. At that time, the former Union of the Soviet Socialist Republic,
USSR.
They gave out scholarships, and he got one to go. But Dr. Jack Deo is a very pragmatic individual, and he saw what happened during the days of when we experimented with socialism. And Dr. Jack Deo knew or felt that he had to bring the private sector in to the development, not exclude them. And he embraced the private sector, right? And Guyana started to develop. But talking about this Marxist-Leninist thing, the whole objective of Marxist-Leninism was to have equality for all people in the country. And Dr. Jagdeo nor Dr. Ali has ever forgotten that, right? And so when you look at what happens in Guyana right now, right, while we consider the private sector as the engine of growth, we have a safety net for the poor, right? We believe everybody, or President Ali, former President Jagdeo, they believe that nobody can be left behind. Everybody, regardless of race, gender, ethnicity, everybody has to progress in the country. So while there's been an embrace of the free market, I don't think Dr. Jagdeo or President Ali forgot that the people, the ordinary people, the poor, everybody has to benefit from this. So I don't know if he completely abandoned Marxist-Leninism.
Okay, so it's like a mixed economic system.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Like what the Chinese are doing.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we've embraced the free market a little bit more wholeheartedly.
Okay. I have a few notes here still. Okay, yes. If you look from a Guyanese perspective at Suriname, you're now here in the country for more than a year now. I hope that you have mingled a lot between Guyanese living in Suriname and also Surinamese people. I think that you have met people from all spheres in society. And as I said to you before, sometimes a foreigner can understand and analyze the situation in your country better than you yourself can do, because sometimes we create blind spots for ourselves. We don't see it anymore. Tell me, please, Mr. Ambassador, what do you think is, in short, a SWOT analysis for Suriname in your point of view? The strengths, the weaknesses,
opportunities, and the threats.
Exactly.
The strength of Suriname is your natural resources and your people, right? The weakness is that I know there are certain constraints, but the oil and gas sector needs to be developed faster, I think, in my view. The threats that exist here, there are some security issues that Guyana and Suriname are working on. It's narco trafficking, it's human trafficking, climate change, global warming is a big threat to the Suriname and Guyana, the region in general. Threats are you got to protect democracy in the region, right? These are things, some of the threats. So let's see, SWOT, SWOT. I got the threats, opportunities. Well, your opportunities not only lie in oil and gas, but your opportunities lie also in agriculture. Your opportunities lie in developing the bauxite industry, looking for new areas as we looked at. So we looked at, for us, it was sports tourism, medical tourism, services, building a completely new city. A silica city is being built, a modern city in Guyana, to attract investments. Those are the opportunities that you have to look at also. And you have to move quickly with these things.
Why?
Because opportunities easily go away, right? You can't take too long to just study something. You have to actually do it. And be prepared. Mistakes will be made, right? But those mistakes, you learn from mistakes along the way. Guyana made mistakes, right? We learned from it and we moved on. I think it was Obama, President Obama of the United States, who said, you can't wait for the perfect to do something. Right? Sometimes it's going to be less than perfect. There's going to be some unknowns in there. But you have to get started on it. And along the way, you modify, you adapt, you build. Right? I certainly am not going to lecture Suriname on what to do. But there are many, many opportunities out there. Like I said, we've been down this road, and we're moving towards success.
Yeah, but if these both countries, neighboring countries, Guyana and Suriname, who have so many things in common, similarities and opportunities, why don't we cooperate more with each other, and why don't we create more synergy? Or are you satisfied with the level of cooperation between our two countries?
I'm not satisfied with the level of cooperation. I think there's a lot more areas, but I won't blame either party for this. It takes time to build the mechanisms to do this, and we will. I spoke of the possibility of the oil and gas corridor. There are discussions. President Santoki, President Ali, when they meet, they talk about these things. The ministers are discussing it, right?
But can you give some concrete examples?
There's a concrete example of the Quarantine River Bridge. That's something that was discussed and is coming to fruition and will be transformative for both countries, right? So there are areas that we're collaborating on. We don't hear about all of it. Look, Suriname and Guyana collaborate on healthcare issues. You're a doctor. There's good communication. And when there's yellow fever or dengue in one country, and COVID and things like that, right? And we don't, at the same time, we make sure it doesn't restrict trade and movement of peoples. So there is collaboration going on. There's collaboration on security, right? Ongoing. There's collaboration on how do we address climate change, right?
But what are the obstacles, in your opinion? What are the current obstacles which prevent us of having more intensive cooperation between Guyana and Suriname and vice versa?
I think that's the wrong question. It's not about obstacles. It's sometimes in government-to-government relations.
Is it about trust and confidence also?
I think the trust is there. I know President Ali and President Santoki have an extremely good relationship, right? And traditionally, Guyana has had a very good relationship with Suriname. So I don't think it's a question of trust or confidence. I think it has a question to sometimes do with capacity. And that means reviewing and analyzing and bringing things to fruition takes time, and there might be multiple reasons why that is happening. But I don't think it's because either party chooses not to do it or either party is suspicious of the other. We have, Suriname and Guyana have an excellent relationship right now.
Okay. Mr. Ambassador.
Maybe one more question?
Yes, I think I will let the callers phone in. In the meantime, I have some comments and questions on Facebook and on WhatsApp. I will ask the audience if they are still interested in a live question. Mensen, goedemiddag. De ambassadeur van Guyana in Suriname is live in de studio. We hebben al een vragenronde gehad. Mocht er toch nog enkele prangende vragen zijn aan uw kant, of u nu in Suriname woont, in Nederland of waar ook ter wereld, maak gebruik van de gelegenheid om de vraag rechtstreeks aan de Guyanese ambassadeur in Suriname te stellen. Ondertussen gaan we snel een aantal comments en vragen via social media doornemen. Live in de studio His Excellency Virjanand Sherlock DEPOO en hij is ambassadeur van buurland Guyana in Suriname. Mr. Ambassador, I have a question still here, or a comment. Simone says, Guyana is one nation and one people. And then Trisnodoru says, we are in principle for cooperation with anyone, but on the basis of mutual respect and mutual advantage. And this is obviously to have a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
And if I can, what is here? I have done the other. No, I have the color here. Bakka Nabuskopu, People FM, goedemiddag. Met wie spreek ik?
Ja, goedemiddag. Meneer Faik met Coroniaantje.
Coroniaantje.
Ook een goedemiddag voor uw gast.
Ja, misschien kan je hem even in het Engels aanspreken.
Oh, good afternoon, our guest. Heb ik het goed gedaan?
Ja, Mr. Ambassador.
Oké, laat me proberen om mijn vraag ook in het Engels te deponeren. Maar niet uitlachen, ja? Want
nee.
My English is very but I'm going to take a try.
Okay, but before...
what is the name of your guest? Because I tune on...
Yes, the ambassador of Guyana and Suriname, and his name is called Virjanand Sherlock DEPOO.
Okay, Mr. Sherlock, I have a question for you. Not long ago, I hear something. I don't know exactly if I hear it on the radio or I read it on Facebook or other
social
internet platforms. Does it follow? In the past, when Suriname, the economy in Suriname was far way better than Guyana, in the time of when Burnham was the president of Guyana, and that time the economy of Suriname was far way better than Guyana. And in that time, you had a lot of Guyanese who came to Suriname, and they find work, they stay here, they married here. And the thing I hear about the past is there's no, from that nowadays, Guyana economy is far way better. It is the best of South America, or at least the Caribbean. And I hear something that the Guyanese, they have thinking about the past. They have an extra weak heart for a weakness for Suriname. Is that right? Okay. A second question. It is a very actual thing that now we had a problem. There is some things going on with Mennonite. And I've been told that Guyana refused to accept them, and that had something to do with the past, thinking about what happened, the tragedy surround Jonestown. If there is any connection, is that the reason why Guyana refused to accept the Mennonite? Thank you. That's it for this moment.
Okay, nog één vraagje, Coroniaantje. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're an entrepreneur. Does your company has a branch in Guyana also?
Oh, yes. Hey, thank you. It's a very wake-up call.
Okay.
Mr. Ambassador, we try as a construction, a steel fabricator, we try to get feet on the ground at the market in Guyana. And there were a lot of obstacles, a lot. We get a feeling that we are not one in the Caribbean. If I think about doing business as a Suriname steel fabricator. In Guyana, there are a lot of buildings there were built in steel, with steel construction. And in Suriname, we had some very good steel fabricators. But there are many, a lot of obstacles.
Okay.
Is there maybe the possibility that we can contact the ambassador, the ambassador of Guyana, to look what we can solve this problem?
Let me extend an invitation to you to come and see me at the embassy, so we can look into that, so that you can participate in the Guyanese economy.
Okay.
Get in touch with the embassy, and they'll give you an appointment to come and see me. In terms,
okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to hang on the phone so I can concentrate a little bit more at what you're going to react on my first question.
Yes,
yeah?
okay, but Mr. Koronyanche, before you hang up,
thank you.
Mr. Koronyanche, before you hang up, please elaborate a little bit more on the obstacles, because a lot of people, they don't know what you will discuss with the ambassador in your next meeting, but we are very anxious and very, what were the problems that you,
I can make it short. Exactly as Mr. The ex-president of the United States of America, he always say America first. And when you try to put feet on the market in Guyana, that is exactly what you get to hear. Guyana first. And that's a very obstacle. That's a big obstacle for Suriname and steel fabricators.
Okay, but maybe the ambassador will elaborate a little bit on that. But how come then that other companies, Surinamese companies, were able to penetrate the Guyanese market? Is this because they were bigger companies with more money, or is the competition in your sector very stiff? Do you have your own explanation for what happened? Hallo?
Hallo?
Ja. Heb je mijn vraag gehoord?
Oh, ik dacht dat die vraag bestemd was voor de ambassadeur.
Nee.
I also know you have Redisa, you have the verzekeringsmaatschappij, how do you call it, with the big building in Paramaribo. You have Assyria, you have SEMC, and you have, I think,
Rossignol?
What do you say?
Rossignol slagerij.
Yeah. There are some how do you call it? Business, Suriname business that get feet on the ground in Guyana.
Okay.
Yeah, VSA United. Now they are in the how do you call it? They're gonna make a big thing at the port of Guyana. Big buildings in the port of
steel construction.
VSA and trade.
Okay.
So I don't know how that. Look, a while ago, you have. I remember Suriname margarine fabriek had very big problems to export their butter margarine to the Guyana market. Then the butter was too soft. Then the butter was too strong.
So you think so if I listen clearly to the way you phrase it, then it seems that they were in fact hoe zeg je dat, pesten, that they were, hoe zeg je pesten in het Engels, that they were making fools out of you, that it was not a sincere effort to get the things on the market, but they were frustrating and sabotaging it.
Yeah, last thing. In the past, I also got the feeling that, look, Guyana is an English-speaking country. So you have Barbados, Trinidad. Most of the country in South America, the Caribbean, are speaking English. We are the only one that are speaking Dutch.
Yeah, there are some French-speaking.
Guyana is the only one that are speaking French. The rest of the country are speaking English or Spanish. And in the past, I had the feeling that the English country, they were closer together, and then they bounded Suriname away because we are speaking Dutch. That is the feeling. Maybe it is a wrong feeling, but I had a strong feeling. And also in the sport, and the time you had Yeah, he was FIFA. He had a very high position at the FIFA Football World Organization. The guy from Trinidad. After Mr. Andre Kamperveen was passed away, then he take the place of Mr. Andre Kamperveen. I can't remember his name, but he was the chairman of the CONCACAF, and he was had a high-ranking member of the FIFA. And in the football, we had very, very big problems with that guy. And there, exactly there, the story started that the English country, they make 1/5 against the poor Dutch-speaking Suriname.
Okay,
we were the only one on the island. That's the feeling that we got.
Okay, let me give the ambassador the floor to explain to you if your sense, your feeling was right, that the Guyanese were bullying Surinamese companies.
Well, we would never do that. We would never bully or mistreat a Guyan.
Bye-bye.
Okay, you can.
We would never bully a Surinamese company. Suriname, the Surinamese are very dear to us. The fact of the matter is, he did raise a very good point, and that is that Surinamese speak Dutch, and the rest of the Caribbean are English speaking. Now, it's a little bit more complex than that. For a long time, Suriname did not look to Guyana. However, the rest of the Caribbean were operating in Guyana. And it is a very competitive market. So you have to be there, you have to be on the ground, right? And you have to market your products there. There are no governmental obstacles to operating, right? Much of the work being done right now is in the private sector, and you need to just approach the private sector and its quality and price, etc. There's one area that's controlled, and that is in oil and gas. If it's an oil and gas contract, then we have local content legislation. Local content legislation means that the company who will have the preference to do the job must be 51% owned Guyanese. So, but you can always collaborate with the Guyanese companies on these projects. So, it's not really that you're being excluded. It's you need to work a little bit harder. And this is one of the things that the Guyana Embassy does here, is we will facilitate your doing business in Guyana. We will not get business for you, but we will help you to navigate the local environment in Guyana. And a good place for others is to reach out to the Private Sector Commission in Guyana. Reach out to the Guyana Manufacturers Association in Guyana. Reach out to Go Invest. And in Suriname, you can reach out to the Suriname Business Association here. And we just established a Suriname Guyana Chamber of Commerce. So you can reach out to them also to assist with helping you to navigate the local business environment.
Okay. Mr. Ambassador, I have found a very nice song. Oh, no problem. I have found a very nice song we will play in conclusion of this very extensive interview, because she said the song of Terry Gajraj was a little bit old because oil and gas was not in it. So I have searched on the internet for a song which addresses your concerns. Okay, we'll listen to that just now as we are wrapping up. There is a very nice question I just received via WhatsApp on the other screen. Let me read it for you. The question is, Mr. Fay, can you please ask His Excellency the Ambassador of Guyana if Guyana has special incentives for its diaspora who wants to return to Guyana from countries abroad? Thank you very much.
Yes, we do. So there's a whole package that's available to remigrants, from bringing in a car, your household belongings, all of it comes in duty free into the country. Like I said, there's a re-migrant unit in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You can go online and you'll get to that unit. It's headed by Miss Rosalinda Rasul. She has a wonderful staff there. Anyone looking to remigrate to Guyana, contact them, and they will help you with multiple things.
Okay. And the final question that I receive here is it true that healthcare in Guyana is free of charge, and that when Surinamese visit Guyana, even if they are not insured, that they won't have to pay for the expenses?
Healthcare in Guyana is free for Guyanese. If you are a non-Guyanese, you would have to pay for healthcare.
Okay, then we have that cleared. Okay, then I think we can wrap up. I would like to thank Mr. Ambassador very much for his visit to the studio, and he has mentioned quite some informative details. And I hope that Surinamese companies who are interested in doing business in Guyana can approach the embassy as Mr. Koronjantje did. And I will give you his name, and then you will know when he will contact the embassy. I want to thank you very much, you and your staff, for enabling us to have this interview. And I hope that in the near future, when there is sufficient indication for that we could ask you once again to drop by in the studio to tell us on certain specific subjects. And maybe the Guyanese embassy can also make some informative discussions or lectures for Surinamese entrepreneurs who are interested in doing business. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, and I will end this interview with a song, and I hope you will like it, and it addresses your comments that you had on the song of Terry Kasrans.
Well, Doctor, I want to thank you, and I would like to thank your audience for being with us today. It was a pleasure being with you, and I look forward to coming again.
Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Waterflow, and I'm here to bring a message to all the bigger heads. It's a new wave team. Remember, we are one people, one nation, one destiny. Oh dear Father, please listen to my song and tell me if I'm wrong. Guyana is oil rich and punishing so long. Oh dear Father, please listen to my song and tell me if I'm wrong. Guyana is oil rich and punishing so long. Guyana producing diamond and gold, a tropical paradise with no fear of the cold. Guyana producing diamond and gold, a tropical paradise with no fear of the cold. Now we have petroleum already been sold, and still no proper health care and pension for the old. Oh dear Father, please listen to my song and tell me if I'm wrong. Guyana is oil rich and punishing so long. Oh dear Father, please listen to my song and tell me if I'm wrong. Guyana is oil rich and punishing so long. see man, I feel the squeeze and cry. Oh dear Father, please listen to my song and tell me if I'm wrong. Guyana is oil rich and punishing so long. Oh dear Father, please listen to my song and tell me if I'm wrong. Guyana is oil rich and punishing so long. COVID-19 come and we still reach for the sky. Ordinary citizen could have buy a car. COVID-19 come and we still reach for the sky. Ordinary citizen could have buy a car. Them shipping out the aisle and have curfew a bar. Politician getting rich and blame it on the war. Oh dear Father, please listen to my song and tell me if I'm wrong. Guyana is oil rich and punishing so long. Oh dear Father, please listen to my song and tell me if I'm wrong. Guyana is oil rich and punishing so long. Guyana is oil rich and punishing so long. Guyana is oil rich and punishing so long.
Goed, het is 8 minuten voor 6. Het is een extra lange uitzending geworden met de Guyanese ambassadeur in Suriname. Zijn excellentie Virjanand Sherlock DEPOO. En ja, het interview is veel langer geworden dan we oorspronkelijk hadden gepland. En dat geeft aan hoeveel interesse er was van mensen in Suriname en daarbuiten over wat er in Guyana gebeurde, de relatie Guyana-Suriname. Heikele issues, maar ook issues waarbij we met elkaar tot grote hoogte kunnen komen. Ik hoop dat u iets aan dit interview gehad hebt, dat u ervan geleerd hebt. Coronjantje, ik hoop dat je snel de afspraak bij de Guyanese ambassade krijgt en dat jullie over de probleempjes die de entree op de Guyanese markt veroorzaken, dat die kunnen worden opgelost. Faiklal met groet u. We gaan eruit. En ja, ik denk dat we even... ja, ik denk dat wij de volgende uitzending op vrijdag gaan hebben, omdat ik een aantal belangrijke zaken heb op woensdag. Dus ik vraag u om door te geven aan Friends and Family dat de volgende BB op vrijdag aanstaande zal zijn. Ik groet een ieder en we gaan eindigen met Marlene Waal, want we hebben veel over Guyana gesproken, maar van Suriname houden we toch echt meer. En de mogelijkheden in de grond en daarboven, die zijn onbeperkt. Laten we gaan luisteren. Stranang grond trong go to noya, Marlene Waal.
Tonight.
Welkom, dit is People FM. Je hoort ons in Suriname op FM 94.1 en 102.7 en wereldwijd via people.sr.
So I'm using my sense to gather the properties. No time, no. Like the Statue of Liberty. Nobody knows tomorrow, so I'll be holding my destiny. I see the same a jungle. Some people they bubble. I continue the struggle. They double my hustle. I see the same a jungle. Some people they bubble. I continue the struggle. They double my hustle. Now I'm giving my testimony. I'm killing the beat and I'm giving them heat. Now I'm giving them everything. I'm living my life, I don't chop money. I don't taste money. Now my testimony, my testimony. I don't chop, I don't taste money. I don't taste money. Now my testimony, my testimony. I don't chop, I don't taste money. I don't taste money. Je m'appelle Chop Money. It's good to be saving for rainy days. Cause you know easy, life is so delicate. So make una see me as evidence. Baba God now my confidence. His blessings are endless. So I see the same I jungle. Some people they bubble. I continue the struggle. They double my hustle. I see the same I jungle. Some people they bubble. I continue the struggle. They double my hustle. Now I'm giving my testimony. I'm killing the beat and I'm giving them heat. Now I'm giving them everything. I'm living my life, I don't chop money. I don't taste money. Now my testimony, my testimony. I don't chop, I don't taste money. I don't taste money. Now my testimony, my testimony. I don't chop, I don't taste money. I don't taste money. Testing 1, 2, 3. Ok. Je m'appelle Chop Money. I see the same I jungle. Some people they bubble. I continue the struggle. They double my hustle. I see the same I jungle. Some people they bubble. I continue the struggle. They double my hustle. Now I'm giving my testimony. I'm killing them beat and I'm giving them heat. Now I'm giving them everything. I'm living my life, I don't chop money. I don't taste money. Now I'm giving my testimony. I'm killing them beats, I'm giving them heat. Now I'm giving them everything. I'm living my life, I don't chop money. I don't taste money. Now my testimony, my testimony. I don't chop, I don't taste money. I don't taste money. Now my testimony, my testimony. I don't chop, I don't taste money. I don't taste money. Now my testimony, my testimony. I don't chop, I don't taste money. I don't taste money. Now my testimony, my testimony. I don't chop, I don't taste money. I don't taste money.
Let's come together in a unity. Fussing and fighting, I know it must cease. All rude boys live as one, live as one. All rude boys live as one. souls. It is revelation time.